Hello there. Thank you for joining us on the midweek edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Bukola Samuel Wemimo. Today on the program, Edo APC suspends National Chairman Adams Oshiomhole as APC governors tell him to call NEC meeting immediately or resign. And later on the show, commuters, motorists' pains continue as Apapa gridlock persists. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamiu. Journalist Hangout starts now. Like a festering sore, the crisis rocking the Edo State chapter of the All Progressives Congress APC is deepening. The state chapter of the APC has suspended the national chairman, Adams Oshiomhole. This was definitely fueled by his running battle with the state governor, Godwin Obaseki. APC chairman in the 18 local government areas of the state who passed a vote of no confidence on Oshiomhole based his suspension on his alleged role in the party crisis. Now, beyond the gladiators involved, the battlefield regarding the crisis is also expanding. Dissatisfied with the various crises rocking the party, governors elected on the platform of the APC have demanded that Oshiomhole convene a meeting of the National Executive Committee NEC or resign immediately. Welcome to Journalist Hangout, as I also welcome my guests, Babajide Kolade Otitoju. And to my far left, Mojid Jamiu. Welcome to Journalist Hangout. Before we begin to look at the politics of it, which really is the core of this story, let's look at the legal aspect of it. Because the state chapter of the party suspending the party chairman, it stands logic on its head, seemingly. Babajide, what are your thoughts?
I don't know what you mean by it standing logic on its head. Every party man originates from a word. So, and it's at that micro level that you can actually be suspended. In fact, the national leadership of the party cannot suspend someone in a state, except the state, except that chapter of the party in the state had taken a disciplinary action against that person and advising the party. That was why when the issue of where it is the local.
Yeah, Oshiomhole is a member of a ward himself.
Yes, he is first and foremost a member of the APC in his state. He derived his origin from there. So the members of his party in his state can suspend him. They can suspend him.
But let's look at the APC constitution. A complaint by any member of the party against a public office holder, elected or appointed, or another member, or against the party organ or officer of the party shall be submitted to the executive committee of that party at all levels concerned, which shall not later than 7 days of the receipt of the complaint appoint a fact-finding or disciplinary committee to examine the matter. Now, the executive committee concerned upon receipt, this is Article 21, Section 3 now, the executive committee concerned upon which receipt of the report of the fact-finding or disciplinary committee shall not later than 14 days thereof either ratify or reject the decision of the fact-finding or disciplinary committee. So let's assume that Oshiomhole is not above the party constitution. He can be suspended. But did it go through due process, within 24 hours?
Your question was that suspending the chairman stood logic on his head.
Yeah.
And absolutely, it didn't stand logic on his head. So what you read to us now is quite different and even validates what I said earlier, that they can complain to the party upstairs. You can complain to the party upstairs about a senior person who derived his origin from that local chapter. So that is, the party chairman does not mean that at that level that they cannot complain against him. What has happened is that they had not lodged any complaint before the punishment. When the neck of the party the NWC was said to have suspended Abdul Kadri, the deputy vice chairman, northwest of the party. He went to court. The argument was that the party, the national ESCO of the party, did not have the power to suspend him the way they did at that time. And you can see that the suspension of Abdul Kadri did not amount to anything at the end of the day. Because before you can do that, there must have been some complaint from the local chapter of the party. That's just meant to ensure that those who are high up in the party cannot become arbitrary or unilaterally punish people who belong to the lower rungs of the party. But the point that I'm making is that the party, the ESCO of the party in the state, can suspend, but they also have to communicate to those senior organs of the party that they have taken this decision. In the case of Oshiomhole, they had not done that, because everything that is happening in this whole APC crisis, just like a tit for tat thing. Oh, you did this to me, I do this, and they are not even looking at logic. They are not looking at morality or some of the actions that they are taking.
So, do you have additional
comments?
To
add to what Jide has said, the procedure is for somebody like Oshiomhole. What the party has done is it has been suspended at the ward level. From the ward level, they take it to the local government level. It has been suspended at local government level. And now it is this, all the chairmen of all the local governments of the party in the state that now met yesterday to ratify the decisions taken at the local government and the ward levels. However, it can only end there, because you still need, just like Jide said, you still need to transmute that decision to the NWC, where Oshiomhole, who is also involved, will be waiting for them. He can, the NWC, if he has the numbers, the NWC can ask him to step aside while they look at that case. But then, the new dimension now is the action being taken by the Progressive Governors Forum. Because apparently, from what, they issued, from the statement issued by Saliu Lukman, the DG of the he said, Oshiomhole has been devalued to a local factional leader. And that they referred to the cases in Samfara, the case in Rivers, where the party, lost an election where it could,
couldn't field candidates.
Couldn't field candidates. Another one, Bayelsa, the deputy governorship candidate.
In Bayelsa too, and it's against the law for you. You can't run alone, except they can get.
Your nomination is not complete unless there is a deputy.
Yeah, if you don't have a deputy. So they said if it can pay the kind of attention it's paying to Edo, to Samfara, and Rivers, and now Bayelsa, the party won't have this kind of problem. And you see, Edo's election is just like a year away. The primaries will be concluded in June. So it's just like 6 or 7 months away. So with this kind of crisis, that's why the NGF is stepping in to say that, Oshiomhole, if you cannot put your house in order in Edo State, then we are losing confidence in you, just the way the local government chairman of the party has passed the vote of no confidence, which led to its suspension. So you really need to allow some things to give, or else it could be on its way out.
No, Babajide, are we going to expect the state factions to also issue a counter statement suspending the state governor? Because it appears that there are factions. Some people have come out to say that.
No, some people call themselves the leaders of APC in Edo State. They've gone ahead to suspend Oshiomhole, suspend Obaseki, suspend his deputy, Philip Shaibu, and the secretary to the state government. But you cannot, as a group, calling yourself leaders of the party. It is the authentic organ of the party that can take such a decision. As we have seen now, in this battle for supremacy in Edo State, Obaseki, whom I have always opposed the idea that he organized the kind of kangaroo House of Assembly election to pick a speaker. But he is showing now that he's in control of the leadership of the party in the state. That he can get the ESCO members to suspend his godfather. That he can get all the local government chairmen at the party.
Some distance themselves from it anyway, but go ahead.
No, the 18 local government chairmen, that he can get them to suspend to pass a vote of no confidence on the national chairman. It's instructive. So what he's trying to do is, look, you are the national chairman, but it's not going to be easy for you to take hold of the party in this state because I'm the governor. And that is what, if you remember, the last time we discussed Obaseki, Oshiomhole crisis in this place, I think it was maybe early last week or almost 2 weeks ago, I said it that fellow governors are backing Obaseki and telling him that, look, you are the governor of the state. You must take complete control of the affairs of your state. So, and this is what we are seeing. The fact, and he has moved on to do just that. The other day, the NLC in the state organized a rally for him. He's expanding his base and trying to show Oshiomhole that, look, I'm in power and I'm becoming more and more influential than you think. Now, with those local government chairmen doing what they have done, with the ESCO in the state, because I've not seen anyone who is a member of the ESCO of the APC in that state, or even one of the key members of the ESCO saying, no, I disagree with what has happened. It is very significant because that's an organ that can take that kind of decision. It's not for a group of lead elders or leaders to say,
General Charles Ahibere, who is leading the Edo People's Movement, a faction
Loyal
of APC,
to
loyal to
Oshiomhole.
They are not known to law. As far as APC,
it's not an organ of the party.
Yes, as far as the meeting.
There's evidently more going on behind closed doors, because there's also a Timothy Osadolo who is saying that they took them in commando style to the venue where they are
Is
state auditor of the party.
Bukola, let me
That's the
explain.
designation quoted
Let me
against his
explain
name.
something.
Everybody doesn't even have to agree.
That is it.
Once you have
The majority.
the majority, this is how it works.
Yeah.
One person can dissent. It's no big deal if one person dissents.
And
But we are talking about local government chairman.
Yeah.
Do you know that it was local government chairman that sacked Ambode, that ensured that Ambode didn't get a second
Yeah.
term? Do you remember?
7 local government chairmen.
See, so they are important at that level when it comes to mobilization and all that. They are very, very indispensable. So if local government chairmen, except if they are not up to that figure, but I'm here to read that, okay, some of them said no. Now, if local government chairmen can come up and say, look, we are passing a vote of no confidence, it is very significant, and that's why those governors are worried. Because what it then means is that APC is playing with fire in Edo State.
Yeah.
And we want, when they had this kind of crisis in Adamawa State, I was in Adamawa, look, not even Zamfara. Adamawa, they had this kind of problem. The governor and Baba Mongoro, who was the strongest figure within the APC, they were not seeing eye to eye. And I said, resolve this conflict or you will lose this state. Many people were saying, look, what's Jide saying? That Baba Mongoro structures had been taken over. In fact, I was a very strong member of the APC who told me that, look, you don't know what you say on air. The structures of the party, Baba Mongoro structures have been inherited by the governor. I said, really? Me that I went to Adamawa, I saw things for myself. Okay, we can now see what has happened. That the disunity within the party caused the PDP to lose. And that's the same thing that happened in Bauchi. I also warned, when you tell them the truth that, look, you can't go this route, the party will fall. If you do this, they will start abusing you. That, look, it's a PDP member, this and that. We are saying the same thing now. We have been talking about this Edo thing for months. We have been warning that this thing will degenerate. Nobody appeared to listen. I challenge APC leaders that, look, we can't have leaders in a party and allow things to degenerate up to this point. Look at what is happening now.
And I want to believe that the NGF is coming in, the Progressive Governors Forum, they are coming in rather late. You see,
and they are coming in on the same day. This story is coming from Edo.
Now, it's even, you see, we need to enlighten our viewers. The governor of a state is very, very powerful.
Hold the thoughts there. Let's take our first caller from Zamfara State. Good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
Yusuf.
evening.
Mansour.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Mansour.
You're on.
Mansour.
Mansour.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I really have to salute the effort of APC Edo State. And even though what they have actually come up with could prove to be a banana skin for APC, it's high time for somebody to go. In Nigeria today, for democracy to thrive, we need leaders who can lead political parties in a cohesive manner. The way in which Adams Oshiomhole run APC has never been so divisive. It has never been so adhesive like what we have witnessed under Oshiomhole. What Oga Mojid has said is clear. It's for APC National Working Committee to sit down, take the recommendation of the state executive of Edo State, and send this man away. Let somebody who is capable of taking this party go. It will be good for Nigeria's democratic development. Look at what happened in Zamfara, for instance, in my state. Look at what happened in Rivers. Look at the kind of inconclusiveness we have in the election where APC can win at a first attempt. So in a state like Ondo, we know, I'm sorry to say, with due respect to Ondo State, is going. Kogi is going. By popular vote, as an APC supporter, I know we lost Kano State. So this is timely, and I am in 100% support, and I will continue to pray for Edo APC to thrive. Let the National Working Committee come to our aid. We, the APC masses, let them please take this recommendation. Ask Oshiomhole to go for Nigeria to thrive democratically.
All right. Thank you, Mansour. You've made your point. As you pick up on your point, Majid, this statement is coming the same day this report is coming from Edo State.
Yeah.
Isn't it too close to call? Specifically, won't it be misinterpreted as the progressive governors, queuing behind one of their own comrades, in this case now Obaseki?
You see, like I was saying before that call, the role of governors in this electioneering, in our evolving democracy is very, very crucial. They are very powerful and influential. The governors pays the salaries of all this, of the party structure in the state. It is the governors that oil it. So the governor is in charge. You are Oshiomhole as national chairman.
They are in charge of the delegates.
You don't have the resources. You don't, as a party chairman in the national level. You see, that's why an Udom Emmanuel is able to route Apapio out as powerful as Apapio. The moment you are no longer governor, you are out. We've seen it happen in Anambra State. Obi didn't spend 6 months after he left office before Obiano took over completely.
Turned against him.
You see, there is an adage which I'm going to repeat. I've said it here before. When this crisis started, for a governor, you don't put a governor on your lap and be saying he should be ruling. It's not a small boy that you can put feeder in his mouth. Except, we have an exception in Lagos because of the way Lagos is structured. And that's what Ambody tried to do. But if you do not have the party structure, and the party structure in Lagos is so difficult because of the control of the national leader. He has been able to entrench himself, and that's why he's the only surviving governor from 1999 who is still very relevant till today. So if you want to emulate him, you need to go to Bodilo and take some lessons on how to do these things. You can't wake up after 8 years and say you want to emulate what Tinubu has done. So that's what Oshiomhole, you can't do this thing by force. You see, in Edo State today, Obaseki is
Lagos is the exception.
Yes, Obaseki is going to the House of Assembly to present his 2020 budget, and they say they are ready for him. So, in fact, I learned that the 14 lawmakers are making behind the move since to go back into the fold because the governor is in charge. He's going to stiff you out of funds.
You know, we had a similar problem when Chimaroke Nnamani took over in 1999.
Yeah.
Chimaroke Nnamani and Nwobodo, they split the assembly into two. They had the same number of lawmakers on their side.
Yeah, 50-50.
The lawmakers loyal to Nwobodo, the godfather of, he was the one who brought Chimaroke Nnamani from the US. Nnamani was working in the US. He attended Loma Linda University, the first place where the heart transplant was experimented on a baboon. A fantastic university in America. He brought him home, and then the man turned against him almost immediately. So the two of them shared the house into two. Now, the people loyal to Nwobodo, they could not sit in Enugu State.
In the chamber.
The two houses were conducting sittings. The two factions were conducting sittings, but they could not sit in Enugu State. They were sitting in Abuja because they feared that Nnamani would crush them. Later on, Nnamani surreptitiously grabbed one person, and then
he had
majority. That's why invariably, he brought each and every one of them back to his side. So that's underlining the influence of governors. I have said repeatedly that I do not approve of what happened in Edo State because in my adopted state of Ekiti, it didn't happen. I witnessed the election of the speaker. Fumini Yafuye. I witnessed it. The governor was there. It was in daytime. It wasn't in pitch darkness.
It was televised.
It was televised.
Live.
Now we saw what happened in Edo, minority picking the speaker.
At
Naturally,
at 9 p.m.
At midnight. And they did not allow others to even know that it would happen. They shut out those that they felt were loyal to Oshiomhole. This was the cross of the matter. The governor didn't want Oshiomhole to produce the speaker. And Oshiomhole had more members in the house than him. This is the origin of the crisis. But the crisis has been so mismanaged. Even me, I feel bad, having known Oshiomhole closely since 1992, you know, and his pedigree in our national affairs.
Okay, we'll talk
we
more
cannot
about,
be happy watching him being diminished the way he's been diminished.
That's where we're headed now, to Oshiomhole. But let's take Victoria from Gombe. Good evening, Victoria. Christopher, sorry.
Good evening, this is Christopher calling from Gombe.
Yes, go ahead. You're on.
Babajide, I agree to you. You're doing a nice work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Seriously, I believe it would be more honorable for Oshiomhole to resign. Seriously, because if he continues this way, APC is gradually sinking. Seriously, he should just resign and let the party get someone that will take the party to the next level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christopher. Now, yes, there are calls for Oshiomhole to resign, but knowing the character of this man from the time he was governor and how he installed Obaseki, he's not one to beat a retreat.
No,
so
you can't. You can't.
Ahead of the election next year,
The thing is, if the
do you see him sponsoring another candidate?
We may not even get to that point. See, let's always look at the bigger picture. Let's always go back to history, because history teaches us a lot, you know. But in Nigeria, we make it look like history is insignificant. That's why they even took history out of the school curriculum, you know. No matter how powerful a national chairman is, if the governors turn against you, I mean, just look at the history of the PDP. When the governors make up their mind that your time is up, I swear to God, your time is up. No, there's no way, nowhere, no one else, not even the president can save you.
They have the resources.
Not even the president can save you. Once governors, you know, turn against you as national chairman, it is finished. So Oshiomhole has a lot to do now. This whole thing that looks like could consume both of them, they better do something quickly. Reach out to the governors, reach out to your enemies in quote in Edo State. If they do not do that, because the governors today demand that they want a meeting of the neck of the party convened, they will convene the neck, and anything can happen.
And from
Okay.
all indications,
I'd like to know your thoughts to
Okay.
that as well, Majid, but let's take a break now. You're watching Journalists Hangout. We'll be right back. Yes, thank you for staying tuned to Journalists Hangout on TVC. We're looking at the story emanating from Edo State, where the state chapter of the party has suspended the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Adams Oshiomhole. Majid, now, I wonder if you share the same sentiment with Babajide. Do you think Oshiomhole will beat a retreat?
well, it is in his best interest to either reconcile, beat a retreat, or take the hard way out, resign. You see, because it's almost apparent that the governors, from the step they have taken, will rally behind
One of their own.
one of their own, because they will have it as a benefit of hindsight that Oshiomhole could give them the same treatment if he succeeds in getting
Interesting out.
Obaseki out. And from the look of things, from the calls I've made in Edo, Obaseki has the support of the masses in what he's doing. They believe Oshiomhole is too high-handed. And that's why he could get 18 chairmen out of 18 to support his move. And now with the statement from the Progressive Governors Forum, I mean, that is like a
He has to pull back.
like a serious yellow card to him. So now they have told him convene a neck meeting or resign. I mean, they are not telling him to mend fences with Obaseki now, and they are citing the instances of how the party lost in Zamfara and Rivers. I mean,
And the dangerous thing
and
that
the
is
dangerous
happening
thing that is happening
in
in
Bayelsa.
Bayelsa. And
Because technically now it's
2
like the
days,
APC has no candidate. No governorship candidate.
about 72 hours to Kogi. I mean, you're having this kind of distraction in Edo. Most of the governors that should be mobilizing and rooting for Yaya Bello now will be focused on how to get things how to get things sorted out in Edo, which is an unnecessary distraction. So Oshiomhole should know that this is not labor unionism. This is no longer NLC. You are not fighting government now. You are now in true democracy. You should allow some things to give. There is no way you want to
You can't use force all the time.
to wrest power with your governor. The governor has come out clean to say it is because I don't want to share money the way they want me to be sharing it. I would rather give to the about 5 million Edo people rather than give to about 300 people.
And that rhetoric may not even be true.
It might
But
not
he
be-
knows
it
that
might
that's
not be
what
true,
people
but
want to
that's
hear.
what people want
He's
to hear.
using it to gain
And
support.
people are, the masses are supporting him, that yes, we've had enough of godfatherism. We don't want godfatherism again. We want Obaseki. So,
But while we speak to the excessive nature of the powers of governors, Babajide, this also speaks to Oshiomhole's managerial capabilities as National Party chairman. The losses cited by the governors, they are one too many.
No, the thing is, you can't totally blame Oshiomhole for the loss of Rivers State. Oshiomhole is not Amechi. Amechi refused to reconcile with Senator Magnus Abi. And there are some figures in the APC who believe that they are bigger than the party. Oshiomhole came, restored discipline, and saved the APC from disintegration. No doubt about
Let's
it.
assume that Rivers is a PDP state. What about northern states that were traditionally
Zamfara.
APC?
No, what happened in Zamfara was a case of not managing the primaries of the party properly.
not under his leadership.
Under
His
his leadership.
Yes, because even the party leadership had its own preferred candidates for those elected positions. That's the problem. But you can't say that Oshiomhole is to blame for what happened in in Rivers State. They refused to withdraw those cases in court. And at the end of the day, the court ruled against the party. Remember that even the governor of Rivers State, on a day that the court tried to sit, you know, when the Nigerian lawyers called for boycott, thugs suspected to be loyal to the Rivers governor were drafted to go and chase away the court staff. They stopped them from sitting because the governor was interested in anything that would stop the APC from producing a candidate in that state. So APC played into the hands of Wike and other people. No doubt about it. So you can't blame Oshiomhole totally for what happened in Rivers. And up till now, the crisis is still on. I said something some time ago that Oshiomhole must find a way to reconcile parties that fell apart before the election. Up till now, the mechanism for resolving the conflicts that caused the party to drift apart before the election has not been set in motion. So it means that he's deficient in that area. He can instill discipline. He did that. Okay. But when it comes to bringing people together, uniting party members to achieve a common goal, he has clearly not excelled in that area.
I'd like you to also speak to the case of Bielsa, but we have another caller, Abu from London. Abu, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, you're on. Go ahead.
Hello?
Abu, you're on. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. I'm from Edo State. I'm residing in London, and I'd like to comment slightly on this program. My main focus is that some people are trying to blame the governor of Edo State for this something, and they are just ascribing some credibility to this Oshiomhole of a man. At the beginning, most of us in that state, we trusted Oshiomhole and we voted for him. And I haven't done this 8 years. He decides to choose this man. And the question people should start asking is that, what was your first contact, your first point of contact between Oshiomhole and Obaseki? And we should take their connection from that place. How did he decide to nominate Obaseki, and they assisted him in campaigning and making him a governor? And briefly after that, they both fell apart. What? How? What happened? I should call on Mr. Babajide. He should make an effort to bring the two of them to the program.
Okay, Abu. Babajide has heard you.
We'll try.
He'll make an effort.
He made a valid point. I'm sure that Oshiomhole didn't know Obaseki enough.
Obaseki was a key member of his economic team.
He didn't know Obaseki enough. The people that he knew, the people who were closest to him, his deputy and commissioners in his cabinet, he didn't allow them to win the primaries. He did everything to make Obaseki win. His cabinet was divided at that time. All those members of his cabinet, they queued up behind his deputy. And that should have been significant. Because the question you ask is, what did those cabinet members, Louis Odion, this boy, who also worked for IBB, Kazim Afebua, they all supported the deputy governor. They refused to back Oshiomhole and this person. He didn't know this man enough. There were other people who worked for him 8 whole years. At what point did he meet Obaseki? Obaseki was a staff of Dangote. So he wasn't really key in the Edo setup at that time. I'm sure that lessons will have been learned. Sometimes people, you stumble on someone and you think, oh, this person, he must be the best. At the end of the day, you give him power. After a few months, he starts fighting you. It serves you right. Because if you cannot trust your own deputy, people who had worked with you for years and you didn't have any cause to drift away from them if you could not trust them. And then someone from nowhere came and you trusted that person. Now that look at what is happening to you. Whatever happens to Oshiomhole in the end, I believe that lessons will have been learned. But from history, I'm seeing all kinds of permutations that people are coming up with that this pastor is a Yamu. Is coming back to APC and will probably be the candidate of the APC. But as we are seeing the governor seizing the structures of the party in that state,
Fight to finish.
How will that happen? Most of the times, these governors are in charge of the delegates. So,
All right.
And it's the
We could
delegates
go
who vote.
on and on and on and on. Abu has given, a sound call to Babajide to bring the men together. But that's not just for Babajide alone. It's also for the APC leaders to bring both men together ahead of the all-crucial Edo State election. Moving on now. The perennial gridlock along the Apapa Oshodi Expressway leading to Nigeria's premier seaport in Lagos necessitated a presidential task force chaired by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, to clear the axis of long queues of trucks and articulated vehicles. After the task force had swung into action and recorded about 95% removal of trucks and trailers from major roads linking Apapa, chaos and confusion have returned to the area. Trucks have taken over the roads linking the ports, while residents and workers in the area face hectic times battling the gridlock. Now it appears a more desperate measure is required to put a stop to the problem. No doubt, gentlemen, that the Presidential Task Force, months after it was inaugurated, achieved, most of its mandate. But then again, we're back to square one. What particularly is wrong with the truck call-up system that it adopted initially, Babajide?
Well, all I see is that I don't know what exactly happened, but all I see is that Nigerians would rather kill. Some Nigerians would rather kill than not be involved in corruption. As we speak, truckers are being made to part with about 150,000 before they can go into the port area. Of course, the issue of the roads leading to the two ports, we all know that those roads are impassable, leading to Tinkan, leading to Apapa. But government came up with the idea of creating Lily Pond, the Lily Pond Park, which can take up to 2,000 articulated trucks. But you have a situation in which truckers would rather not use them because they can see that, look, it makes sense to cut corners. So you don't want to stay on the queue or remain in the garage for 2 months and starve. They will pay
150,000 naira
to get inside that place. If you ask the police, they will deny, but we all know that this thing is true. It was the same accusation that was made against the Navy. The Navy were the ones controlling traffic in that area before they decided to bring in the presidential task force. But the Nigerian factor is at play again, and is terrible. All kinds of measures that have been taken have not been seen to be working. You can say, okay, within a week you achieved something significant, but if we are back to the problem, then you can't say you've done well. What happened? What happened? Is it that the vigilance is no longer there, or what? Why is it that corruption continues to thrive? One person making as much as 20 million in a day. You think they will want the thing to end? 150,000 is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And in a day,
there are thousands of trucks.
And in a day, up to 5,000 trucks go into those ports. So do the math. As anything, as we've said repeatedly, any piece of business with a very huge profit margin, and in this case, let's even call it profit margin, Nigerians will not give it up. With a gun to their necks, they will not give it up. This is what we are seeing. Corruption has worsened the state of affairs in Apapa. I once suggested that government should revoke the certificate of occupancy of all tank farms in that area, because the idea of allowing tank farms to be located in that area was even wrong from the off. You shouldn't have allowed that. Now, will we ever find the courage to chase those tank farms away? Dozens and dozens of tank farms in that whole area. Now, can we agree that there should be no parking lot for truckers in the Apapa area? Can we agree? These are some measures that we can take, in my view. Drastic measures that will put an end to this whole nonsense. And then, of course, fix those roads, whether it is Liverpool or now Liverpool is bad. That was the alternative when they found that this road could not be used. But even Liverpool now is bad.
Let me pick up on Babajide's question. Can we agree to relocate those tank farms, take them away from that area? Majid, in the alternative, where do you relocate the tank farms to? Because truck owners would argue that they need proximity to the port so that they can access their goods and continue their business.
And there are two things there. Fine, it's not good to have those tank farms at that location where we have them. But basically, I once gave an analogy on this same Apapa port when there was a slight improvement in the traffic management about 2-3 months ago, following the activities of the Presidential Task Force. And I said it's only momentary, that it's only temporary. And that's what we have come to now. Now, the analogy is that if you build an hostel for 1,000 students with 4 toilets, now you have, from 1,000 students, now you have 5,000 students. You still have those 4 toilets. Those 4 toilets give it the best, the most ultra-modern flushing system or what have you. It still remains 4 toilets, now serving 5,000 instead of 1,000. So the queuing time will be more. Like Jide said, the port has a capacity to handle about 5,000 trucks, but now we have about 10,000. So there is no way we won't have queues, except we expand the capacity of the port, and that is not possible because it's landlocked. So there is a limit to the expansion. What we need to do is collaborate with the Lagos state government to build the Badagry port and the Lekki port. If we do that, or get some vehicles, give them some incentives, so some of these port users, 90% of the of containers coming to Nigeria come through Apapa ports. So now, even with the closure of the border till January, those who have been diverting their goods to Benin Republic and Togo are now back to Apapa. So it will only compound the problem. The only thing is we should have a long-term plan where we de-emphasize Apapa port, probably give incentive to those who want to use Badagry ports or Lekki ports. I mean, those ones are not even ready yet. Maybe One Port, Calabar Port, or Rivers Port. So give them incentives so that if you take your goods there, instead of paying a particular amount in Lagos, because most of these goods also end in the Lagos market. So people want to...
Even if you take that measure,
yeah.
How about vehicles simply coming to load petroleum products? Because everybody is coming to Lagos now. To load petroleum. We no longer pump petrol through the pipelines because of the people continue to breach them. And that should tell you that when we don't do the right thing from the beginning, this is what we suffer. If those pipelines had been sunk deep into the ground and you put something like that can trigger electric shock if anyone touches them, what we're having now will not happen. But people can easily dig and go and steal a petroleum product. We are not using pipelines anymore. We are doing what is called bridging. In the past, we used even the rail system to move petroleum products upland. We are not doing that. Everybody comes to Lagos to leave petroleum products. So apart from people bringing back used containers into the ports, we have those who moving in commodities for export. Everybody is going there. The ones who want to take petroleum products, they are going there. So you have this problem.
But even Ikorodu terminal, picking up from your point that incentives should be created for truck owners, they say the same misery that you have at Apapa is being recreated at Ikorodu terminal. And to that I ask, is Nigeria jinxed? We have another caller on the line. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
You're on. Go ahead.
Yeah. Please, Mr. Babajide, I enjoy your program. But there's a point you made now that I want to respond.
Okay.
That's on that tank farms. The tank farms you mentioned, they have been there before this gridlock of things started.
But they have increased.
They have increased, but
they have increased.
When they were there, without this, all these flat bodies, we call them flat bodies.
Yes.
Yes, before they started there. They have been there and we did not experience anything like that. Because I have worked there for the past 10 years. You see, the point you made, it is corruption. The Navy you mentioned before, yes, we learned that they were collecting 150,000 per truck. And they moved up to 10 trucks every night. Because I believe 5,000 trucks cannot be moved. If we move 5,000 trucks, it means there will be no gridlock. They move about 10,000 every night
10,000
at 150,000. So we know that even those tank farms you are mentioning, most of these tankers, they have dropped the tank. They have gone into the flat body business. Understand?
Yes.
So I want to only...
You have to just carry general cargo.
Yes. They have dropped most of their tank. Those fuel tanks, they have dropped them. They have converted them to flat body because of the business they are making there. So I believe it is the corruption. And we learned that even those that were sent to come and clear that place, they bought more of these flat bodies to their business, to join them.
So if you can't beat them, you join them.
It's corruption and nothing else. And they have turned the whole place into toilets. But if you go to my 2OK, during that rainy season, you will regret being a Nigerian or a Lagosian. So all we want to do, let the government find a way of bringing a tax force that is corrupt-free.
Well, after they work for some time, as you said, they will join them.
Okay, thank you for calling.
So if indeed that they can move 10,000 trucks in a day, that's a lot of money. 250,000 per truck. No wonder someone told me that an individual could make 20 million a day. I thought he was exaggerating.
No, from what this man told us, I mean, is an operator there. He knows what is happening. I've been hearing, so at a point, they said it's for you to turn and take one way, they take 50,000, but then it keeps increasing. At a point, 50,000 was no longer, then they moved it to 100,000. Now, I think it's 150. And I know that by the time we are approaching Christmas, maybe they will take it to 200,000, and people will be willing to pay.
Let's just say quickly here that we've given an opportunity to the task force to respond to these allegations of corruption, and we're waiting.
Let them just solve the problem.
A response.
That's what concerns us the most. The Nigerian economy is being bled by the problems that we have in that area. Let them solve the problem. And I don't think that the task force will work indefinitely. I don't think it should work indefinitely. And a task force ought to have a time ceiling.
A time
in which it should deliver.
Yes, the sad thing is that at a point, the World Bank has given Nigeria a 5-point adjustment upwards in the ease of doing business. I mean, part of the ease of doing business is the records we recorded. I mean, the success we recorded in clearing the Apapa ports. I mean, now we are going back to that.
To the same problem.
This might affect our rating in the ease of doing business
When
because
they do the next meeting.
yes, when they do the next rating, because they look at all of this, the time that it takes you to get your goods out of the ports.
Yes.
I mean, the time you need to register, and I mean, they take your containers back, and so I mean, they look at a lot of factors, and I think that must have accounted for the success we recorded by moving a 5-notch in the ease of doing business. But I'm afraid we might lose that opportunity by the time the next rating comes in another 1 year, because I mean the traffic situation in Apapa is back and could be worse as we approach the Yuletide season. I mean where a lot of people will move their stuff.
On the road,
And
even
is
the
this
construction of the road
heightened-
is slow.
Is this heightened by the problem of the chain of command at the Apapa port to clear the gridlock? Recall that 2 weeks ago or thereabout, there was violence reported at the port, and there were reports that there is also a Lagos State task force who is also helping to clear the gridlock, and somehow there was a fracas and it escalated.
Well, if everybody would jump in to help us solve the problem, it can't be a bad idea. But sometimes when these people quarrel, it is usually money is usually at the heart of it. So we just want them to solve the problem. All of these stories we hear are not stories that we want to hear. We want them to solve the problem and then deliver an efficient framework by which we can be sure that that problem is permanently solved. Parking trucks on our bridges, on our roads, damage those roads, because those roads are not designed for dead weights,
to carry dead weights, yeah.
You putting them and damaging, even by the time they finish that road, if we continue with that system, the roads will not last. So this is the thing. You can imagine Lagos Ibadan Expressway, the way it was damaged by trailers, though they were not even parking permanently on it. And then this one, they park permanently. There should be no reason why on top of the Jora Bridge there will be one truck. We have the Lily Pond, move every truck into that area. But if truckers can see that they can cut corners, they will not move into Lily Pond. So Lily Pond is there wasting away, it's inefficient, nobody wants to use it because they know that it pays to cut corners. I would rather pay 150,000 than stay in the park for 2 months.
For 3 or 2 months, yeah.
And staff. No, this is what is happening.
That's what's happening.
And this problem has to be solved. It has to be solved.
I wonder if there's rocket science for port operations to, go on seamlessly. Of course, it's done in other countries, and it is possible in Nigeria if those, given that responsibility, are responsive and efficient in the delivery of their service. That's all we have for you on Journalist Hangout today. Of course, discussions have been fruitful as always. Join us tomorrow for another edition of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on your screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. Thank you for watching. I am Bukola Samuel Wenimo. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.